Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Wednesday, February 5th, and the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 7 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So when it comes to the spirit guidance, we have the bear, and the bear comes out in the reversal position. So with the bear coming out in the reversal position, in the upright position, the bear always brings me to seasons and cycles. But in the reversal position, the bear what image that comes to mind with the bear in the reversal position? It brings me to the thought of like being at the airport and you want to get from one point to the next, but you have to go through some form of check, whatever you call it, some kind of a checking area where they got to process you or whatever for you to go from one part to the next. So with the bear in the reversal position today, energy brings me to that. It's like dealing with some kind of a delay or, dealing with some kind of a delay, or things appear to be moving a lot slower than we would like, even though there's contradictions within the energy, because with the day being the 5th, the number 5 will move things along. But it's not that things are moving along. It's just that we check out. We check out and we go and focus on other things and kind of come back hoping that things have moved along. And so the number 5 will cause us to want to check out. And the number 7 will cause us to want to dive into ourselves, trying to understand something through ourselves, about ourselves. And it might be something from yesterday, something about the material aspects of yesterday, whether it's a title, whether it's a status, whether it's something about your appearance, something you own, something you don't own, something you want to own. Or it could just be trying to understand yourself on a deeper level for different reasons. With the bear energy, it brings me to the thought of, it's like being at a checkpoint, and it's like going through a checkpoint. So the way how I would also interpret that is, I think of like going from one level to the next, but you can't go into that level yet. You first need to go through. Okay, so the image that's coming to mind is like watching movies and say a person might go to prison. And from the movies, it looks like they get in there and they got to go through processing. That's the word, processing. It's like I needed to think of that, to think of the word processing. So something about today's energy feels like some form of processing. It's like you need to get from A to C, but you're stuck in processing. And it's important that you go through processing before you are able to mix with the rest of the population once you get from A to B. So something about today's energy, we go inside of ourselves and we're trying to process and understand something a lot more so that we can move on. Also, what I love about today's energy is that today's energy feels super psychic. Feels super psychic because when I look at the number 5 and the number 7 together. So earlier in the reading, I was saying how on Monday, I was saying how the number 3 and the number 5 make really good friends. And the number 3 and the number 5 for me would be like Gemini and Aries. And they make really good friends, and they probably would get into a lot of trouble together because Gemini is curious and Aries is like, let's do it. Where when we come to today, the number 5 and the number 7 would make really good friends. And the reason why the number 5 and the number 7 would make really good friends is because the number 5 dealing with telepathy and also clairaudient, just hearing things and not knowing or being clear exactly what it is that it's experiencing. And the number 5 experiences these random things that can't be explained. But the number 7 welcomes it all, because the number 7 is big for questioning everything. And the number 7 doesn't trust anything that is stable or secure within this realm. So the number 7 is that person that feels like this is the matrix and everything is a part of the matrix and it's all bots. And the number 5 seconds it. Where when the number 5 say, you know, I had this dream or this experience that I was in this other realm, this other dimension, the number 7 might have not had that experience as yet, but it's open to it, because the number 7 wants to look everywhere but within the physical. The number 7 wants to leave the physical, and the number 5 kind of straddles the fence in and out of the physical and the non-physical, similar to Pisces energy. So when I look at, say, the number 5 and the number 7 energy for today, we could find ourselves escaping down the rabbit hole of ourselves, trying to understand certain spiritual aspects of ourselves deeper. Those of us who are not big on the metaphysical side of things will find ourselves in deep research today, putting in a lot of work researching something. And it might feel like it makes sense to dive into this thing and gain more knowledge or information from it. But with the bear energy coming out in the reversal position, it just brings me to the importance of having, you know, the processing that is necessary to get from one place to the next. Because I think of, like, say, when a person's locked up, I'm guessing they go through the processing to make sure that they're not bringing anything into the population to affect the majority. Or I think of, like, a person going through the airport is probably something similar. So when I think of this in our personal life, I think of us going through a certain kind of processing to probably get clear about certain beliefs, get clear about certain perspectives, so that those beliefs or perspectives don't contaminate other ones that we have, where it's like we have to stop right here and become clear on certain things. Because if we're not clear on certain things, new things will be introduced, and we're going to contaminate the new things that are introduced, because we didn't get a clear grip or understanding on something present within us that needs to be dealt with. Like, that's how I'm seeing that energy. And with the moon in Taurus, the moon is in a space where, yeah, we are nurtured by predictable things that bring comfort, that are central, that are familiar, that are often traditional. But with Uranus conjunct the moon in Taurus, is, I guess, we're comforted by these things, but at the same time, we're also open to the radical change of these things. It's like, yes, I appreciate it's like a person saying, I appreciate the school system, but I know that major changes need to happen and I welcome it. It's like that kind of energy. I appreciate the way the financial system is. I don't know who's saying that or if anyone's saying that, but an example, I appreciate the way the financial system is, but I'm also open to radical changes needing to happen where that's concerned. And the moon conjuncts Uranus is squaring the sun and Mercury in Aquarius. So when it comes to the changes that are happening there, it would bring me to maybe outside sources or other people or other groups. With the moon in Taurus and Uranus energy there, it would bring me to the thought of, say, you having an unpopular belief compared to the group that you're associated with, whether you associate yourself with this group or society throws you into this group because, you know, y'all share things in common. So because we're all women, we're thrown into this group of women, but just because we're all women, we don't feel the same way about this thing. That's an example that I'm getting when it comes to the moon, where the moon is, because where the moon is, we're seeing how certain changes could be made in some staple foundational type things. But at the same time, when it comes to the different groups that we belong to, there's some kind of a clash there. Like, we don't share the same views when it comes to that thing. So that could be challenging for some of us. And, you know, we deal with when we experience a clash on the outside, that pushes us to go within ourselves. But what I love about today's energy is that with us being in February, the number two feels things. It's intuitive. The number 5 hear things, is clairaudient. And then the number 7 just knows. I think it's clairvoyant. You guys correct me in the comment. So when it comes to today's energy, whatever it is that you're dealing with, just know that you know. Just know that you know and trust that you know. And write down whatever it is that you know. Just write it down, sit on it, don't act on it, just write it down. But today just feels like one of those energies that, there's some processing that needs to happen of something. And you know what it is that you need to know. You might be asking for confirmation or clarity and whatnot, but you already know. And write down what it is that you already know. Maybe you might write down a question. I want to know XYZ. And then write down underneath it the answer for XYZ is, and just allow yourself to write out. Like whatever comes out of you, allow it to flow out of you. Don't think of what it is that you're going to write. Just allow it to flow out of you. Because if you're thinking, then your intuition's not working. It's not your intuition speaking to you if you're thinking. Because for me, and that might be wrong for someone else. I just know for me, whenever it's my intuition speaking. So say how I'm doing these videos, I'm just talking. It's like things are flowing into the front of my mind and I'm seeing an image and I'm just talking about it. Where whenever I'm thinking, my mind is working and I'm observing options. Where whenever I'm flowing, it just comes in and I just go with it. So, do that when it comes to write down your question and write, I know the answer to this. The answer to this question is, and pay attention. If you start observing options and you're deciding if you should pick from right or left, like that's not your intuition, you're thinking. And I could be wrong. For someone, maybe their intuition works exactly that way. What do I know? Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. So when it comes to the tarot, we have the Four of Cups in the upright position. With the Four of Cups in the upright position, tied with the bear, this traditionally would reflect the person being presented an offer, but they're not presenting the offer because they are, they look, traditionally with this card, the person looks ungrateful. They look ungrateful, like it's not enough. Like they look selfish and ungrateful traditionally. When I look at this card, the person is busy within a meditation. To me, this card could bring me to like the thought of manifestation. It's like I close my eyes. I'm looking at what's in front of me. I'm grateful for what's in front of me. And then more is presented to me from closing my eyes, going within myself and being grateful for what already is, which to me is real stuff. Like, I remember years back, I think I was listening to Louise Hay. And Louise Hay, I was listening to one of her recordings. I remember when I lived in Connecticut and I would drive back and forth to Massachusetts to do hair. I think this was like in 2008. In 2008, I would commute back and forth and I would listen to Louise Hay or Dr. Wayne Dyer on my 1 hour each way commute. And I remember her saying, when you live in a space, focus on all the things you love about the space. And when you're leaving the space, leave it perfectly for the next person by, even if it's cleaning it up and whatnot, or just putting love into the space. And that's something that I've always practiced. And I remember one time I didn't, where I lived at a place. And when I look back, it really wasn't that bad. But when I was there, I felt like I hated it. Like I felt like I hated a lot of things about it. I complained a lot. And then I end up in a place after that was worse than the last one that I was in. And the one that I was in before was actually perfect. And the things that I complained a lot about weren't even that serious. but then end up in a place after that had all the issues that I complained about in the first one, but were worse. And in that moment, I had to catch myself because I realized the pattern. It's like, I'm doing this. Like I had to stop myself and say, look at what I've done. And instead, I'm in a place and I have a whole year to be there and I don't want to be there, but then I don't want to break the lease and, waste my money and things like that. And the issues that I have, they're not that serious. But for me, I'm a homebody. So it's important for me to be comfortable wherever it is that I'm living and enjoy wherever it is that I'm living. So instead, I started focusing only on the things that I loved about the space. And there was a lot of things to love about the space, like the big windows and the arch ceiling. And even though the floors were some kind of a vinyl-y plastic that in some areas they were buckling, the color was beautiful. And when the sun came in through the windows and reflect onto them, it was beautiful. There was a lot of things that were beautiful about it. So instead, I stopped complaining about the space. Like I no longer got on the phone to my brother or my mom or whoever and complained. So I stopped complaining and I stopped looking at the things that I didn't like. Instead, I would act like those things weren't there. Like I would ignore the hell out of those things. But genuinely just bring my attention to what I love about the space. And what do you know, when the time was up, the space that I got after, the arch ceiling, the layout was exactly the same. And it was an accident how I ended up with the second place, but the layout was exactly the same. And everything I hated about it was perfect in the new place because I had to shift the frequency that I was putting out, focusing on what I didn't like in the space. And in that moment, it clicked for me like, oh my goodness. Like from then, I stopped thinking and focusing on the things that I don't like. And what also helps me is, telling myself that I only worry about the things I don't trust God with. I only worry about the things I don't trust God with. So a combination of me reminding myself I only worry about the things I don't trust God with, which is nothing. There's nothing to worry about because I trust the Creator with everything. And then only focusing on the things that I love about a thing, and the things that I don't love, I change it. And if I can't change it, then I know I'll manifest something better next time. And I feel like when it comes to today's energy, there might be something big on that. Meditating, going within, reflecting. And we're aware of what it is that we don't like about our situation. And we come up with some plan to work on it. And if it's something outside of our control, then we leave it to the Creator. You leave it to God. You leave it to the universe. Because if it's something that you can't control, then it's not up to you to change it. And there's clearly some lessons that you need to gain from it. So it was like me being in the first space that I complained about, which was actually a brand new space. It was a brand new space, but what was not brand new about it? So it's like they did a brand new facing on the space, but they put brand new cabinets on the kitchen cupboards, but you could tell the behind the original ones or the old ones, and you could smell. And I'm very sensitive to smell, so I'll make a big deal out of a smell. I'm very sensitive to smell. So it's like I was fussing over things that someone else might not even notice. I noticed. And I made such a big deal fussing over that to where the next place. And then I'm like, what the heck is wrong with me? Because when I did the walkthrough for the next place, that was a nightmare. When I did the walkthrough, I didn't see these issues. But then once everything is set and I'm in there, it's like, what the hell? And it's like, clearly I needed to learn a lesson. I manifested this situation so much to where when I did the walkthrough, I didn't even see the issues. I didn't even see the issues when I did the walkthrough. And when I was locked in, that's when the issues presented itself. And instead, I took accountability. How did I get here? I think back, I knew better. Louise Hay taught me a long time ago about, putting love into the space and being grateful and whatnot. And yeah, in that place. And it's so interesting how the dream realm works and the real realm and how they're connected. Because in the dream realm, when I realized that I hated the space that I was in, I had a dream that I'm a younger girl, and I have to go live with some family that I really didn't know, and I didn't want to live with them. And I hated the idea of living with them, but knowing that that's where I had to be for a while, I didn't know when I would leave. And it's crazy because right when it was time for me to move again, I had a dream that I moved into the space that, that I moved into after that space. Dreamt that I moved into the new space. It was perfect. It was everything. And what do you know? The place that I found was a place in the dream. It was everything. But it took me a year to manifest, what came after. And like I said, the layout of the other place was exactly like the one that was the nightmare, but all the things that I chose to focus on, the positive, those things were amplified and perfect. And the things that I didn't like, but I act like they didn't exist. I didn't speak negatively about them. I didn't even pay them no attention. In the next place, those things were also perfect. So, it just brings me to the power that we have to create our reality. Like, we live in a realm that is all mental. So if everything here is mental, we really need to pay attention to our minds. We really need to get better at meditating, journaling, and, celebrating the mind. So when it comes to today's energy brings me to the mind. There's big attention and big focus on the mind, processing, and we're processing one thing in order to get to another. And I like this card. I like it in this deck because it brings me to that experience that I had where first I manifested a horrible situation by complaining about the other place. And I don't know why I was so I don't know. It's almost like I was in this space. It's like something got the best of me and I fell into this chronic complaining and just only seeing the worst. And then the next place was a mess. But then I was able to manifest my way up out of it. And I feel like when it comes to this energy, that's what it brings me to, manifesting your way up out of it. Take a look at your situation. What do you not like about it? What can you do about the things you don't like? And the things that there's nothing you can do, that's where the manifesting energies come in. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a purple heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.